Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. We got episode 626. You got Dank here, your host, and I've got some interesting stories to talk to you about. But I want to do some announcements first. And the main one is the Cannabis Science Pub. That's coming up, and for once I've got the subject, and I'm letting you know ahead of time. So that's that deal that's put on by the OG Analytical and Oregon Constant Gardener. It's on the last Tuesday of each month. This month it's October 25th, from 6 to 9 p.m. and it's free. And this is what they wrote about it. They said, join OG Analytical and Oregon's Constant Gardener every last Tuesday at Whirled Pies downtown as we explore the science and social science of cannabis. Play trivia to earn fun prizes and learn cool facts. Hear a panel of speakers, see educational presentations, and participate in discussion with cannabis industry professionals. Each session is followed by an hour of networking. Ask questions, get resources, and have a beer with industry peers. So that's, again, October 25th, and this month's subject is cooking and concentrating with cannabis. So by all means, take up. There's no reason not to go. It's free, you know. So 6 to 9 p.m. and that's at Whirled Pies, which most of us know as the Cosmic, the corner of 8th and Charlton, or 199 West 8th. So appreciate those businesses for putting that on. They're great community members. And also, I wanted to talk about the election coming up. We got, I think it's as of right now, as I'm speaking, it's 22 days till the election. Couldn't come soon enough for most of us, of course. But anyway, the important thing is there's going to be a lot of marijuana issues. And I don't have a list right here with it, and I'm trying to get something next week. But I've heard that there's something like 150 ballots, measures on the ballot statewide regarding marijuana. We've got a lot of communities, counties that want to opt out. But there are actually a few that opted out, and now they're wanting back in because they realize that there's money involved. So it's really important to be sure and vote on election day, and be sure and vote on the marijuana initiatives. We need those votes badly. And also, not related to marijuana, but let me throw right in there, and there's other bills and stuff that we need to vote on, and one of them is like gas tax. I just became aware of a project over in Springfield that's going to be on my street, and it's a total waste of money, and it's a typical city of Springfield fiasco. But anyway, and it's going to be funded by gas tax. So if there isn't, I can't think of a better reason to kill gas tax than the way they spend money. It's always ticked me off because the gas taxes keep going up and our roads will keep staying bad. In the meantime, my cars are getting beat to hell, you know. And so who's going to pay for the repairs of my cars because the roads aren't getting fixed? So it's just a real circus. But anyway, and then also we want to talk about LV Musica. I've got her can here with me, and this is I had this on 2 weeks ago, and I've got it here again today. This is the can. She receives one of these each month from the United States government. It has 300 marijuana cigarettes all rolled up and packed in there. And this is, I said, they come in a tin. And so what she does is she gets donations for the tins, and that helps fund her activism for cannabis issues and the traveling that she does and stuff. And she's working on a trip to Colombia right now. So she would really like to get a donation for her can. These have gotten as high as $3,000. I mean, it's a pretty unique thing. It says right on here, marijuana cigarettes, high potency. This is approximately 300 cigarettes per can. Net weight on this one was 267.31 grams. It was manufactured, it says January 2009. expiration date to be determined. And so anyway, it's a very unique 10. Oh yes, and this other label here's see, this has got LV Music is of course name on it. 10 cigarettes per day, spread out, eaten or smoked. that's their I guess that's their dosage. Discard after 2/14/17, no refills. So, but anyway, she would like to get, like I said, get a donation for that. $1,000 is probably the area that she's looking for that, because she does have to finance a trip to Colombia. But believe me, it's all cannabis oriented, and it's all about promoting cannabis. She's a real warrior, real trooper. So this is an exciting story that I came across, and I wanted to bring it up because this was in the ecowatch.com website, dated the 7th of October, written by Philip Smith. The 2,500-year-old skeleton found wrapped in marijuana plants. Archaeologists in China have uncovered a 2,500-year-old gravesite that contains the bones of a man draped in freshly harvested marijuana plants with the budding tops lopped off. At first reported in National Geographic, researchers say the extraordinary catch helps deepen our understanding of the plant's ritual and medicinal use in ancient Eurasian cultures. According to research findings reported in the journal Economic Botany, a team led by archaeologist Hongan Jiang unearthed the burial site of a man approximately 35 years old with Caucasian features from a cemetery in China's Turpan Basin. At the time of the man's death, the area was known as the Gushi Kingdom, and the desert oasis there was an important stop on the Silk Road. The remains of the man rested on a wooden pallet with a reed pillow beneath his head. 13 marijuana plants up to 3 feet long were placed diagonally across his chest, the tops running from just under his chin and along the left side of his face, forming a sort of cannabis shroud. It's not the first time signs of marijuana have been found on archaeological digs in the region. In 2008, a burial site in nearby Yangi Cemetery turned up nearly a kilogram of marijuana seeds and powdered leaves. Not far to the west, marijuana seeds have also turned up in the first millennium BCE Scythian burials in southern Siberia. But this is the first time the archaeologists have uncovered complete marijuana plants, and the first time they've seen them used as a shroud, Jiang said. Because they are whole plants, researchers can determine that they were grown locally rather than obtained by trade from somewhere else. The plants were laying flat on the man's body, meaning they had been fresh when harvested in the area. Also, most of the flowering buds, interestingly all females, had been collected, enabling the archaeologists to determine that the burial had occurred in late summer, when the plants would have been mature. The fact that all the plants are females is especially suggestive, as the female plants contain the highest quantities of THC, the cannabinoid responsible for creating marijuana's high. Not only that, the remaining buds turned out, even 25 centuries later, to be covered in trichomes, the tiny hairs that secrete the resin containing THC and other cannabinoids. That and the lack of discoveries of hemp textiles led the archaeologists to suggest marijuana had been grown and harvested for its intoxicating properties and could have been smoked or consumed in a any beverage for ritual and or medicinal purposes. The Turpan Reefer Man is just the latest evidence that marijuana consumption was very popular along the Silk Road and across the steppes at least 2,500 years before mid-20th century jazz musicians and beatniks began to popularize it here. So anyway, that's another discovery, and then I came across this one. Now this was 8 years ago, and it was maybe the one that the article referred to, but this was dated December 3rd, 2008. It was in the NBCnews.com website, written by Jennifer Villegas. Nearly 2 pounds of still green plant material found in a 2,700-year-old grave in the Gobi Desert has been identified as the world's oldest marijuana stash, according to a paper in the latest issue of the Journal of Experimental Botany. The barrage of tests proves the marijuana possessed potent psychoactive properties and casts doubt on the theory that the ancients only grew the plant for hemp in order to make clothing, rope, and other objects. They apparently were getting high too. We know from both the chemical analysis and genetics that it could produce THC, the main psychoactive chemical in the plant, he explained, adding that no one could feel its effects today due to decomposition over the millennia. Russo served as a visiting professor at the Chinese Academy of Sciences Institute of Botany while conducting the study. He and his international team analyzed the cannabis, which was excavated at the Yanhai tombs near Turpan, China. It was found lightly pounded in a wooden bowl in a leather basket under the head of a blue-eyed Caucasian man who died when he was about 45. This individual was buried in an unusual number of high-value rare items, Russo said, mentioning that the objects included a makeup bag, bridles, pots, archery equipment, and a Congo harp. The researchers believe the individual was a shaman from the Gushi people who spoke a now extinct language called Tokarian that was similar to Celtic. Scientists originally thought the plant material in the grave was coriander, but microscopic botanical analysis of the bowl contents along with genetic testing revealed that it was cannabis. Weird Science Award letters? The sizes of seeds mixed in the leaves, along with their color and their characteristics, indicate the marijuana came from a cultured strain. Before the burial, someone had carefully picked out all the male plant parts, which are less psychoactive, so Russell and his team believe there is little doubt as to why the cannabis was grown. What in question, however, is how the marijuana is administered, since no pipes or other objects associated with smoking were found in the grave. Perhaps it was ingested orally, Russell said. It might also have been fumigated, as the Scythian tribes of the north did substantially. Although other cultures in the area used hemp to make various goods as early as 7,000 years ago, additional tomb finds indicate the Gushi fabricated their clothing from wool and made their rope out of reed fibers. The scientists are unsure if the marijuana is grown for more spiritual or medicinal purposes, but it's evidence that the blue-eyed man was buried with a lot of it. As with other grave goods, it was traditional to place items needed for the afterlife in the tomb with the departed. The ancient Russian stash is now housed in Turpan Museum in China. In the future, Russo hopes to conduct further research at the Yanhai site, which has 2,000 other tombs. So, anyway, it was definitely used, apparently, as we use it today, both recreationally and medicinally, it sounds like. So, anyway, we'll probably hear more about that as they investigate it. And I also want to talk about the Whirled Pies Hemp Fest coming up, hopefully next year. So we need to be talking about that and thinking about it, and we need some help with that too. We need parking for our trailers. I mentioned that in past shows, and we're going to bring it up again. We need parking for our utility trailers. So we'll talk a bit more about next half. We'll be right back, and please stay tuned. I'll be back. Hope you do too.
Do you suffer from fear of losing your election? Are you terrified that voters will discover you've done nothing to improve their lives? Maybe it's time you talk to your spin doctor about Incarcerex. In clinical trials, Incarcerex has been shown effective at reducing election-related anxieties by making voters think you're doing something about the drug problem. It's simplistic and fast-acting. If your problems continue or get worse, you can always double or triple your dose of Incarcerex. Whether it's addiction, therapeutic use, or just casual use, there's an Incarcerex plan for every American. Best of all, taxpayers, not you, will foot the bill. So talk to your spin doctor about Incarcerex today. Common side effects include loss of civil liberties, police corruption, racial injustice, increased terrorism, spread of HIV and AIDS, and violent crime. Bloated prisons are also a common side effect. Stop taking Incarcerex if bloating lasts longer than 20 years. If you're trying to balance the budget, keep families together, or protect human rights, Incarcerex may not be right for you. Do not mix Incarcerex with the Constitution or common sense. So start taking Incarcerex and keep pretending you're doing something about the drug problem.
Welcome back to the second half of the Eugene Cannabis Show, the Eugene Cannabis TV show, and that's show number 626. You got Dank, your host here, and I've been discussing some news stories, and we've got an interesting coming up that this is something we can be kind of proud of, and I think we all kind of knew it. This is from the hellomed.com website, dated October 3rd this year, written by Madison Zimmerman, titled "Cannabis Treats Heroin Addiction Successfully." According to the Center of Disease Control's, opiates, including heroin, were responsible for more than 28,600 deaths in 2014 and 61% of all overdose-related deaths. Heroin is a growing problem in the United States and is popping up everywhere from city streets to once quiet American suburbs. Often heroin addiction is caused by an addiction developed while taking prescription opioids. But heroin is then turned to as a much cheaper alternative to prescription opiates. Heroin is just one component of the opiate epidemic that is plaguing America. Only about half of people with addictions fully recover from their disease and do not resort back to using. In some cases, we see even higher rates of relapse for people with opiate addictions, meaning finding new approaches to ridding our country of widespread heroin addiction is essential. So why cannabis? A survey carried out by Amanda Ryman of UC Berkeley found some of the main reasons patients at Berkeley Patient Group, a medical marijuana dispensary, took cannabis. The results showed there was less withdrawal with cannabis compared to other illicit drugs, less adverse effects when taking cannabis compared to other drugs, and it provided them with the best symptom management for their various medical conditions. If patients are choosing cannabis for better symptom relief qualities, then it is clear that access to medical marijuana could prevent some problematic addictions in the long run. Cannabis, however, might prove effective at helping people heal from their already present addictions as well. Cannabis quells symptoms. Some states are looking to cannabis to help rid them of their growing heroin addiction problems. Maine is considering adding opiate and heroin addiction to the list of conditions that apply for medical marijuana. Since one of the most common routes into heroin addiction is prescription opiate abuse, usually prescribed illegally for pain, it is thought that since marijuana has shown great efficiency at treating chronic pain, it could dramatically decrease the need for opiates in the first place. Massachusetts also has a pilot program of opiate addicts being treated with medical marijuana. Dr. Gary Whitman of Canacare Doctors attempted to treat about 80 patients who were addicted to opioids, anti-anxiety medications, and muscle relaxers with cannabis over the course of a 1-month period. 3/4 of the patients stopped taking the harder drugs they had been previously addicted to because cannabis adequately quelled their symptoms. Cannabis replaces other drugs. A 2009 study published in the Harm Reduction Journal found that cannabis could be effective in treating alcoholism. Out of 350 cannabis users, 40% use cannabis to quell alcohol cravings. 66% use it as a replacement for prescription drugs, and 26% use it as a replacement for illicit drugs. In all of the cases, cannabis was an effective alternative to what each patient had previously been taking. A 2013 study by the National Institute of Health, which was conducted by the Psychiatric Research Unit in Montreal, Canada, found that cannabinoids are able to alter the body's reward system. The study found that the endocannabinoid system can be crucial in addiction treatment because it is closely tied with various neurological and behavioral aspects of addiction. Since cannabis acts on the endocannabinoid receptors in the body, it is believed that the cannabis could be effective at helping people with addictions. Another study from 2013, which was published in Neuroscience, found that targeting the endocannabinoid system in people who have opioid addictions could be a novel pathway for the treatment of addiction. Cannabinoids and opioids work in similar pathways in the body, so supplementing the body with cannabis could possibly alleviate up to 70 of the withdrawal symptoms associated with opioid use. A 2009 study, which was also published in the Journal of Neuroscience, found that CBD specifically could be a potent treatment for heroin addicts. This was shown in an experimental rat model where CBD decreased heroin-seeking behavior, stopping addictions before they happen. Medical marijuana can be the key to both alleviating heroin addiction and to preventing more addictions from developing. Multiple studies have proved both the efficiency of medical marijuana in helping with chronic pain, which is the most common reason that opiates are prescribed to patients. If medical marijuana is accessible to other people, it can prevent people who may have addictive tendencies from being prescribed opiates in the first place. Since opiates are highly addictive, simply reducing the number of opioid prescriptions is a crucial aspect in reducing the number of opioid addictions. Preliminary studies have also shown that medical marijuana could provide relief from heroin addiction. More studies are needed to prove the efficacy of cannabis as a treatment for addiction, but with multiple states considering adding addiction to the list of approved medical conditions for medical cannabis use means we could see more evidence in the near future. Do you have questions about cannabis? Ask a question on HelloMed's new answers. A doctor or member of your community will answer. If you are new to cannabis and want to learn more, take a look at our Cannabis 101 post. Hello MD can help you get your medical marijuana recommendations. It's 100% online, private, and efficient. So again, if you want to check into that, again, that was HelloMed, HELLOMD.com, HelloMed.com, if you want to check that out. So anyway, that's well, we all kind of figured, you know, it's always been, in fact, Willie Nelson, I remember, stated, he said that if it wasn't for cannabis, he wouldn't have been able to give up the drugs that were really causing him problems, alcohol and tobacco. So anyway, and then the other drugs are so bad, you know, that I mean, marijuana can help. In other words, people think it's going to add to their addiction problems, but it's just the opposite, actually. So anyway, that's a really interesting thing to think about there. And we have, I want to take a quick rundown on 5 states voting on recreational marijuana this November. Excuse me. This was written by Sean Williams on fool.com/investing, August 14, 2016. Ready or not, the marijuana industry could be reshaping right in front of our eyes. Over the past 20 years, we've seen incredible growth in the legal marijuana business, starting with the passage of a compassionate use law in California in 1996 for medical patients. Medical marijuana has become available in half of all the United States. Since 2012, 4 states, Washington, Colorado, Oregon, and Alaska, along with Washington, D.C., have passed laws allowing for the legal sale of recreational marijuana to adults 21 and up. Based on data from cannabis research from ArcView, legal marijuana sales hit an estimated $5.4 billion in 2015, and legal sales could grow at an average of 30% per year through 2020. Yet all of this could be just the tip of the iceberg. These states are vying to legalize medical or recreational marijuana. The November elections could wind up having a dramatic influence on the marijuana industry. Though there were plenty of state movements that fell short of the required votes or grassroots support to get a marijuana initiative on the ballot, residents in 9 states will be voting on whether to give marijuana the thumbs up or thumbs down this fall. Specifically, 5 states are vying to legalize recreational marijuana, which could more than double the current legal state total in 1 year. Here are the votes that will matter most come in November. California. Without hesitation, the crown jewel of the marijuana movement would be a victory in California. Victory has the largest economy among U.S. states by a mile, and if it were a standalone country, it would represent the 8th largest annual GDP in the world. Gaining recreational marijuana approval in California will give the industry access to a huge population of potential users, as well as give Congress the ultimate in marijuana guinea pigs to monitor. Then we've got Nevada. Among the 9 states set to vote in marijuana this fall, residents of Nevada were the first to know they had an initiative on the 2016 ballot. Nevada is already home to Sin City and a vast network of medical marijuana dispensaries, making a move to legalization recreational marijuana only natural. Maine is among the earliest states to note that residents would have the opportunity to vote on the marijuana initiative this November. Massachusetts is where we really see the possibility of an initiative to fail. And then we've got, and then Arizona. Arizona is perhaps the biggest long shot is Arizona, which also collected enough signatures to get the recreational cannabis initiative in front of voters this fall. So, boy, if you've got friends or relatives in any of those states, encourage them to vote. We need every vote we can get, because it's coming. It's just a matter of when. And the more we do, the faster we're going to get there. And anyway, I appreciate you being on the show and coming into the show. Checking out the show, and come on down and come and see us Monday nights. We'll see you later. I'll be here.